Welcome back to the Tech Stop. Today I have some Southwire products, but all the products showing here are digital tools and none of the hand tools. I have this here because as far as hand tools go, I'm always going to buy Klein. Just to sum it up, there's several people's opinions out there right now. Mine is simply just that Klein is made in America, supports American jobs. I know that all of their products are tried and tested and are of good quality. Southwire's products are mainly made overseas, but I'm going to go ahead and show you right here their American lineup. You'll see that it's some simple products and a few pairs of strippers, cutters, and pliers and things like that. But as far as digital tools go, Klein outsources a good portion of their digital tools, and they are actually made overseas as well. And I think that they share manufacturers for some of their products like this, and the price point is similar. But one product that they do not compare to Southwire in is the T200K tone and probe set, which is to the right. As far as everything else goes, they have a meter that matches this one. They have a bundle like I got that had the meter, the contact tester on the non-contact tester on the right, and the plug. But they also, I don't think they have a telephone line tester. Southwire is a general brand that you can find at Lowe's, and they also bundle cable and have different products, and Klein usually sticks to just tools. Starting off here, the telephone line tester is very simple. It just has 4 indications that it'll make. It'll say if it's a dead line, if it detects AC voltage, if the lines are reversed, or if the line is wired correctly. This cost about $8 and is about the size of a thumb drive. It's just something that I picked up. It's nice to have on my tool bag, and I actually take it around and just, first thing I'm doing if I'm troubleshooting a phone line or something is I'll plug it in. Fax machine's not working correctly, I just plug it in to make sure that line is live first. Next on the list is this non-contact tester up top left, and I bought that for $12 about a year ago. It has a flashlight on the back. It's Cat 4 rated up to 600 volts and seems to be built very well. It's very sturdy in my hand, and compared to the one on the right, seems like it would take a hit much harder than the one on the right would. So it's very hard to demonstrate or do anything. It's basically straightforward. You put it to a hot line or an outlet and it'll tell you if it's hot or not. It works well. Not too much needs to be explained on this one. The main purpose of this video is kind of to demonstrate the T200K. Now, before we go any further, I would like to say that while Klein and Southwire has these products, Fluke is definitely the superior when it comes to meters and digital products because that's what they specialize in. Next up is the other non-contact tester. Basically the same thing, except this one's Cat 4 up to 1000 volts, has that flashlight on the back, and they all have a clip. But this one just feels a little bit cheaper, feels all plastic and not as supported, but it works fine, and I've used it several times and enjoy it very much. It makes life so much easier when you have one of those, because if you don't, then you have to take a risk or try to put your meter on it if you don't have a clamp meter. And I do have a Fluke clamp meter, but there's a lot of situations that I don't want to take that in for risk of it being damaged. I definitely don't want to crawl with it because I have damaged one before. Not saying that Fluke products are not built well, it's just I didn't treat it correctly. This is a receptacle tester. It does not have a GFCI function into it, so I mean it's just the cheapest, lowest down that you can kind of get, but it's a great tool to have around. You can just plug it in and it'll let you know if you're grounded and if your wires are in correct orientation. So the next part is this meter. One of the great things that this one has that the other cheaper multimeters don't is the hold function. Occasionally you will need to hold it so that you can remember what reading you got. For the fuse in it, it has a 10 amp fuse on this one, but as far as the normal volt side, there is no fuse, and that's how most multimeters are. I don't think my Fluke also has a fuse on that side. I've never seen that before, but it does have a 10 amp in it too. This has a category 3 rating up to 300 volts and category 2 up to 600 volts. Basically what I interpret that to mean is I wouldn't use that on anything high voltage, and by high voltage I'm talking about 480 and up. With 120 and 240 I would use it, and I have used it several times, but I mainly use this meter for electronics, small electronics. It has a function which is quite nice on these. The leads, they have this small little exposed tip here, so you can touch little contact points and not cross anything over. But also these caps slide off and you having a full exposed probe. So you're not just stuck with the tiny pieces or a whole long one where you could cross things over that you don't want to. The meter does have a audible function for testing continuity, and it has a built-in battery test function for 9 volts, 1.5 volts, and I thought there was a 12 volt function too. It's auto power off and has a kickstand to basically hold it at a workstation if you need to use it like that. This is the model number 10031S, and as far as build quality goes, it feels pretty good. I've kept it inside. I've not used it out on different projects. I've only used it really for electronics work and occasional, one time with 240 and several times with 120. It seems like a pretty good meter. As far as build quality goes, it feels heavy. It doesn't feel like it's cheaply made, and I know a lot of people like this meter of Southwire's. Their last model was not as impressive. I decided to stop and make a quick adjustment of the camera just to show this product up close. This is the T200K Southwire, and it is the tone and probe set. In the back, it has a storage compartment and holds all your different attachments. So it has alligator clips, your standard phone line, your RJ45 for Ethernet, and this is for cable line. You can kind of adapt it to do different things, and this is just this right here is a probe that goes on the telephone line. All these use the telephone line connector to plug into the toner. This is what the toner looks like. Pretty simple. And this is what the probe looks like. And you have your little kit here. There's a different model at Home Depot that has the toner built into the holder, and I didn't like that one as much because when you have all that together, it gets to be a little bit bulky, and this is light enough to where I'd feel safe with it hanging from a port and not doing any damage or anything. Although ports are pretty stable, and I've traced different types of things with this. I really like that it has swappable options because you can actually make your own different things. If one of these broke, I feel like I can make these over again, especially the alligator clips. It works very simple. This has, on the tone side, you just press it and it auto powers off after like I think 10 minutes or something like that. And on the probe side, it has a volume controller. The only thing I do not like is that it does not have a headphone port, to where if you're in a client's house and you don't want to make a bunch of noise, but you can turn this on and you can control your volume. I'm going to go all the way up for the purpose of this video. And that's the simple audible noise it makes. If it gets direct close contact with those copper ends on the opposite side of the wire, it will turn red and start beeping too. Overall, it works very well. The only problem compared to a fluke is flukes have a verifying function. With these right here, they don't. And what I mean by verifying function is if you buy the $120 fluke set, which is basically double this price, it has a function to where when you set your tone side up, you can go to the probe side and cross those two wires and it will change the tone. The reason this is important because when you have bundles of cable, the signal from the toner can jump over cables to where you can get false signals from different cables and you might think that that's your cable. This one does have the red blinking light if you get close enough to the actual conductor itself, so that is useful. But I really liked that function of the fluke. But for this price point, you can't really beat anything else on the market right now. All the other versions of it weren't that well built. The only complaint I'd have is of the battery containers. It's a little bit complicated, and they have springs on both sides. On the right side, there's 2 springs, and on the left, there's 2 pads, but the orientation is odd to where the positive actually ends up going to a spring inside, and that's very abnormal, and I did see online people struggling with that. So just keep in mind, if you buy this product, pay attention to how the batteries really go in there, because it can be confusing. Overall, the build quality of this product feels pretty good. The hinge feels like it could break on this door if you put some serious leverage on it, but when it closes together, it is put together really well, and I like how it has the holder function. I put this in a pouch of mine that has different things in it, like my punch down tool and different datacom tools that I would use on the day-to-day basis. Overall, Southwire does have some quality products, but the most occurring Southwire purchase that I make is definitely their wire bundles, because that's pretty much what you can buy at Lowe's. Your standard 14-2, 10-2, landscape lighting wire, anything like that, is usually bundled by Southwire and Lowe's buys it from them. Unfortunately, Lowe's in my area stopped carrying Klein tools about 3 years ago and brought in Southwire since they have a similar tool setup. However, you probably saw by that website that the quality and where they are manufactured is not as good. And we know that there are some tariffs in act right now, so those tools have actually gotten a little bit more expensive, at least the ones that were manufactured in China. I hope this video was a little bit helpful. I'm not the best at video quality yet. I've tried to, make the best of what I have. But overall, I think that these products are fairly nice, and this T200K is by far my favorite Southwire product there is. There's not too many videos on it, and if you're okay with spending about 60 bucks on it, it works really well. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will have many more like it.